What's up guys, Chief here with another video where we learn how to play Protoss in Starcraft 2. So today we're going to kind of finish off our thought process on the 3-gate robo build order and transitions for Protoss. In the past we've talked about an aggressive style of mid-game to late game where we push off of one base, try to kind of get our second base. We've talked about a 2-base kind of Colossi passive play where we're working on our Colossi and we're kind of planning on ending the game towards the start of the late game, not really getting too far into the late game because we're only on 2 bases. We ideally would want to be on 3 bases otherwise. Now today we're going to talk about a more passive style or macro, which basically just means we're focusing on economy. We're focusing more on economy, want to get an economic advantage over our opponent and use that to win, rather than a timing attack, rather than a rush, rather than other things we could do to win the game. So let's just take a real quick look at our graphic. And again, guys, if you are interested in these kind of styles, like I just mentioned, I have other videos for that. I have other videos you can look and we can talk about a 1-base all-in, we can talk about a single base tech path, and then maybe expanding behind a push. And then we talk kind of about a Colossi off 2 base where we do an attack and then take our third. But today, what we're concerned about is macro. And that means we're going to scout our opponent very thoroughly, very often, and we're going to make sure that we are safe. We are able to do this because if we don't scout and we continue to macro blindly, we can die to any random push they decide to throw at us because we don't have a large enough army. And that's kind of the balance that you guys need to keep in mind constantly. There's a very fine line between too much macro and the right amount of macro. So if we go into our game here, and there it is. In your average game, your opening 3-gate robo, we get to right about here. We've got our warp gate coming up. Our gateways are almost done. We're about to make hopefully our observer. Yep, there it goes. So we're kind of at this point. Now, for an example in this video, I've mentioned before that we have certain maps in the ladder where we know that there's a favorable second base or that the map favors fast expansion. This is one such map. We have a nice, easy base in the back right here to take. Our front ramp is here, nice and defendable second base. Okay, that's all we need to know. So, I'm going to be pretty active with my first stalker. Here he is. And say, for example, I would go up into this base. Okay, it's a Zerg, great. I understand, I see this, I'm walking around, great. Doesn't have very many units. Oh, he has his second base already. Now that's very typical for Zerg. Say for example, you were instead looking at a Terran and he had his second base. Same thought process. Zergs are generally going to have bases a little bit faster than the other 2 races. That doesn't really concern us. What we're concerned about is we know he's focusing a little bit on economy for the very near future. For the next couple of minutes, we're safe. We don't have to worry about an attack. That's all we care about. So back home, we're at this point in the game. Instead of using our minerals on getting out an immortal, getting out some units from these gateways, we're going to take that same money and we're going to throw down our second expansion. Well, our first expansion, our second base. Here it goes. There we are. Lovely. Lovely Nexi. We've got 2 now. Now we're matching our opponent's expansions. We've got 2, they've got 2. Everything's great. Everything's great. Now, we've got our observer coming in. It's very important that when you're doing a macro style of a game that you continually scout your opponent's army. If you see him about to leave, come to attack you, you don't know where his army is, you go into his base and you don't see anything, he's likely coming to attack you. So what you need to do is stop focusing on your macro, make as many units as you can, and try to hold off that attack. That's your concern. Here we are. Lovely. We're getting up to second base. We're continually scouting. We're making units as we can, not too concerned about getting a big army right now. We're more concerned about getting a big economy. Big economy. Again, our observer's here. We know, okay, he doesn't have very much. I'm not worried about this. Don't need to make that many units back at home to kill off something like this if he were to attack me right now. So we're safe. Now, a great thing to do, guys, if you're in the point in the game where maybe you're playing against a Terran that has this walled off or something like that, so you can't get in here and see what's going on. A great way to deal with that as Protoss is to hallucinate a Phoenix, and I think I do that right about now. Wow, look at that. Perfect. So great thing to do, take this Phoenix, send it up to your third, see if your opponent has a third. Very important to know when your opponent takes their third base. Very important, keep that in mind. We'll talk about that in a second. So you send him in, you can rally him maybe, he'll fly this way, go to the third, fly around over here. Okay, you can see what's going on in the natural. Oh, great, some drones, yes, very important. Down here we see the tech structures, maybe he's got a spire here, maybe he's got Hydra Den. You know what tech your opponent's using, you know exactly what his army's doing. Perfect, that's all we care about. Great little thing to do for Protoss, hallucinate that Phoenix, get him in there in conjunction with your observers to see exactly what your opponent's doing. Here we are. If we get to the point in the game, great. Our second base is saturated. We've talked about it a little bit where you want to have roughly 15 to 19 on minerals and then 3 on each gas. 3 workers on each gas. So if we look quickly here, we're telling ourselves we're coming close to that number. We want to think now about getting our third base. We've established our second base, we want our third. Now, we've got an okay force of army, our economy is going to be kicking in, we need to add more production structures. Again, not too concerned with exactly what we're making in this video because it's more of a general thought process that I want to talk about. We can add some more gateways. We can start choosing our additional tech. So right back to the graphic. In this video, we're focusing on macro, and what we've done to do that is we've gotten a faster twilight, because if we would have went for a robotics bay and then colossi, we wouldn't have had as much money to focus on macro. That money is going to get eaten up by those expensive tech heavy units. So we're delaying the colossi a little bit. We're not foregoing them altogether, we're just delaying them. We're getting our twilight earlier. We're starting with the forge, our twilight, we're adding gateways, we're continuously getting our upgrades still, but we're more focused on economy. Now for the mid game, right about where we are now, we're thinking about getting our third base. We want to make sure, again, I'm going to drive this point home, we do not want our opponent to take their third. That's all we're concerned about. We're not worried about winning the game with an attack right now. We just want to stay ahead in economy. We don't want our opponent to get a third. A great way to do that is with charge, zealots, or blink stalkers. You're not investing a whole lot. These are basic gateway units. All you need is that twilight, grab an upgrade off of that, and you have some very versatile mid-game units that you can use to stop that third base from happening. And again, from here, we're looking to go into a more advanced tech, like, for example, Templar Archives, or back again your Colossi, perhaps Dark Templar, whatever you like. Not too concerned. We're taking a third base, and we're getting some higher tech. That's the whole goal of this video, is that thought process. So, that's all I want to talk about, guys. You're taking the third. I guess what we could do is maybe jump right back in here quick, and I can just give you guys a little bit of a run through. We're still pretty good on time here for this video. I don't want it to get too long. So now, we've just started our third. We're looking at about 11.5 minutes. That's great. That's a good time to get your third in this game. Great. But we need to make sure that our opponent, again, very easy AI. You're not going to have to worry about an army that's going to kill you. But we need to make sure that we know what our opponent's doing. That's the only reason we're doing something like this. If we saw with this scouting information, okay, maybe he just took his third, we want to move out with our army and try to stop the third. We want to kill off some workers. We want to totally deny it as much as possible, while behind that taking our third. And your opponent is likely doing the same thing. So it's kind of a fun, interesting little dynamic. You guys are trading off, trying to stop the thirds, trying to stop the economic advantage. Because if you do end up doing something like this, you're not worried. Like I said, you're not worried about killing your opponent right here. But if you do kind of sit outside here, maybe it's these lovely Terran that like to hole up in here with like 5, 10, 15 siege tanks and like Vikings everywhere, just a whole mess of stuff. You do not want to push into it. It's a bad time. But you sit out here and you stop him from taking any more bases, he's going to run out of money. These minerals are going to go bye-bye. He's going to be a sad panda. He's going to be a sad little Terran. He's going to run out of all kinds of money, and he's not going to have much left. So when that happens, that's when you guys can win the game. You don't need to throw away your army trying to push in here when you're already winning. And that's something that, as a newer player, I did a lot. You guys might be doing it a lot also. So we're we're containing him, we're stopping the third, we're establishing our own, and we're winning with economy. That's all I want to talk about, guys. If you guys do want to check out the other videos I have, again, we talk about, let's go right back here quick. Click it. Click it, Chief. There it is. Beautiful. We talk about these different styles. Again, as you go down the layers of the chart, you kind of see that they're more focused on macro at this end, more focused on micro on this end. So you guys can kind of choose what you want to do. These are just very general ideas. Not saying that these build orders are perfect or even that good, but they're just thought processes that you guys should try to consider. So if you guys have any requests for videos, any kinds of suggestions to my videos that I've already made, I'd love to hear them. Please leave me a comment. In my next series of videos, we're going to talk about more general stuff like unit micro, upgrades. We're going to talk about stuff like general tips as a Protoss versus Zerg, Protoss versus Terran, Protoss versus Protoss, all the different matchups. We're going to talk about Zerg point of view stuff, Terran point of view, everything. We're going to get into more generalized things now. We're going to stop talking about the 3-gate robo and do some more general stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, please stay tuned. I'm going to try to make one video a day just to keep up with the content and keep it rolling for you guys. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.